guys, what is going on? Redmaster here, and welcome back to another episode of Hidden Combos, where today I have an interesting Frost deck for you. I've been toying around with this Freeze deck for, about a week or two now, and I figured now is the right time to show it. Again, I don't think this deck is going to be extremely competitive, but if you're looking for something that deals with Freeze and, the Viking sort of Crusader territory, I think you might find this deck enjoyable. So with that being said, let's hop in the deck list for the Frozen Tundra deck. So here's, of course, our deck list for what we are calling Frozen Tundra for now. The name is kind of a work in progress. I didn't really have a interesting name like some of my other ones. So I'm going to call this one Frozen Tundra. So think of it as like a name filler for now. It may not be the true name, but it's kind of the name I'm going with for now. And the first thing you might notice about this deck, it's very top heavy. Obviously, that, Tyrannosaur, Arbiter's Return, Kraxus, Yarm, Frozen Storm, Yenneroth, Frost Giant, all about 6 gold or higher, and that makes up about, maybe I would say a third of the deck right there. So you're dealing with a pretty top-heavy deck. I guess just, and for at that matter, a bit legendary. I mean, obviously Tyrannosaur can be subbed out with Minotaur if you guys don't have it. Arbiter Return can be swapped out with maybe Hands of the Saint. But I think maybe the other ones are going to be pretty necessary if you want to run this deck. And Yarm's are rare, so I think you shouldn't have too much trouble with that. But going to the rest of the deck, we do have a lot of interesting things going on with Frost and Freezing. Obviously, I mentioned Frost Giant and Frozen Storm before, only 2 aspects of the deck. The deck also runs Lich, a classic sort of freeze card. Any sort of freeze deck that you guys want to get working, you're going to need Lich. I've also got Winds of the Icy and Tower of Winter, both of which I feel like are underused Frost cards, especially since the Winds of the Icy is very good at board manipulation. Pulling an enemy about 2 spaces forward to your side of the board and freezing it, that can pull a lot of things into you for you to just easily pick off. And something that might need protecting, maybe like a Tarius or maybe an early Night of Flowers. Something that you can just pull in, easily freeze, and then just take out right away. I think that's a lot of people just don't recognize the Wind of the Icy power, but it's kind of understandable because Vikings overall don't really stand out in the meta too much. But again, Winds of the Icy is a very solid freeze card. And to go with Winds of the Icy, we also are rocking Tower of Winter at only 2 copies though. I don't feel that the Tower of Winter is, necessarily an all-in card, at max 3. It's fun to play around with, especially when you're running as many freezes as you are in the deck. Obviously, 3 from Lich, 3 from Winds, 3 from Frost Giant, and 3 from Frozen Storm. And of course, 2 from Yenneroth as well, so having the Tower of Winter is just sort of a fun thing to play around with. Again, another reason why it's not super competitive. Obviously, if I wanted to go make this deck more competitive, I would take out the Tower for 2 Armory, because I feel like the Armory might be a bit stronger and more reliable in this case. But if you guys are wanting to experiment with the, freezing aspects of the deck more, I recommend just throwing 2 Tower of Winters in, just to play around with the extra 3 damage you get from freezing an enemy. It's very good for your low tier units like Hassan City Guard, or Lich, or Flux, to take out something bigger and badder that will require, something like a Pegacorn to take out. So yeah. But besides that, we are running a bit of, a lot of other cards here to help support the deck. I've already mentioned the more top-heavy guys, Yarm, Arbiter, Kraxus, Tyrannosaur, all sort of like the general support that I like to throw into any sort of Viking Crusader deck. They always, being the cards that they are, Yarm, super strong, Kraxus, a must-have for Crusaders. Arbiters, if you're not running a Crusader deck without Arbiter, you do need to get Arbiter Return right away at definitely 2, not 3. Like I didn't do 3 for this deck, but I would recommend, at least 2 for this one. But yeah, all vital cards for any sort of deck running these 2 colors. But more on the opposite side of the spectrum here at our lower cost here. Obviously, Lumberjack for draw. Hassan City Guards for some extra buff, hold on, I'm just kind of... Hassan City Guard and Night of Flowers, actually, to provide some sort of early game presence, to go along with Blacksmith and Battle Ready as sort of buff cards. Battle Ready is not that bad at a 2/2 plus knockback. Great things for setting up Chain, for your Lightning Blade or Yarm. So, Battle Ready, always nice to have, plus the Blacksmith for his sort of attack raising power. And while we're, speaking about raising attacks, Spear Strike, just overall one of the best Viking cycle cards currently out there. Giving a random friendly unit 5 attack, so he's going to probably be trading with something, or taking something out pretty easily. And also drawing a card to replace it in your hand. I think that's just a very strong ability, especially since the deck kind of lacks draw power a little bit, I will admit. The only draws we have here are Craxus, Spear Strike, and Lumberjack. So I think maybe there could be a bit of a modification here with the draw. If you guys want to swap out Battle Ready for Forbidden City or Divine Knowledge, I could definitely see that happening. And sort of finally coming in at our like 4 or 5G, mid-tier slots, we've got Barbarian, Flux, Lightning Blade, and Pegacorn. Lightning Blade, very strong Viking, yeah, I said that right, buff that I like to have for sort of all of them. I only put it at 2 though, because I want freezing to be the main aspect of this deck. And then of course, Flux and Barbarian, overall just 2 great mid-tier units to have in the deck. Potentially thinking in my head about swapping out Flux, or no, not swapping out Flux, but adding one more to it and then subtracting Barbarian. The numbers are at, the reason they are, just because I don't want to rely too heavily on Flux. The spells can, clog your hand very easily, and I think, Barbarian I kind of want because he's got more of the ability to get buffed into a much scarier attack unit rather than Flux. And then of course I've got Pegacorn in here for the overabundance of Warlock decks currently out there in the meta. Kind of just, since Pegacorn can't be damaged by things like Defective Flame Cannon, Flame Storm, Blue Fire Bolt, I almost stumbled with that one. It's just a very dandy unit to have here to just deflect any sort of outside spell damage. It kind of forces them to get up close and personal with Pegacorn to really deal with it directly. But yeah, that's pretty much the Frozen Tundra deck. I think I've explained about it enough. So with that being said, let's hop into the gameplay and see how this deck performs. Alrighty. Alright, so for the match here, it looks like we're going up against some meta colors, red, yellow. Not too surprising. Our hand doesn't look too bad, although I will admit I would like it a bit better. Usually I don't like having these top end cards in my deck, or my hand right away, but, that's something I really can't control. But, whatever happens, happens. We do have the red side, so we will get this coin in case we do need it, which is always appreciated. But let's see what happens, because we were facing a, again, pretty meta deck. He'll get the 2 damage on Castle, but I'll take the card draw. I'll get a T-Rex, which I don't think I necessarily need. But let's see if I can tempt out a burn here. We'll throw our Knight of Flowers out. I do have the Lich in hand. My plan is for him to maybe block with something, and then me just freezing it with the Lich. Give a 4/5 Knight onto face for, to even things up. But again, he is running Warlock, so things could, yeah. Okay, he'll actually pass entirely. Something I was not expecting. So I guess we take that trade. I mean, I don't want to use the Lich now, because what's he gonna do? Nothing. Lumberjack, okay, he gets some draw. Did he actually have that in his hand previously? Okay, and he just okay, another sort of empty turn like that. We'll take the additional damage, I guess, but this turning things are turning out pretty oddly. I wouldn't be surprised though if he comes back with something like Rally, even though Rally is probably something I did not expect to see at all. And then he throws that peasant up there. That's fair. We'll throw our Pegacorn. That's not a Pegacorn. Pegacorn out because again, him with Warlocks, he cannot damage this card directly with spells. And all he's got is a peasant to really charge at me. It's why Pegacorn is kind of important in this deck. With all the Warlock meta running around, it's just very easy to pick off cards like Warlock decks, I should say, with this kind of maneuver. So let's get a little interesting here and throw out the Frost Giant. He hits that peasant up there, which is fine. So we can do something like this. Okay, we'll do this. I'll let him hit face if he really wants to. He could have a detonate for me, in which case he's just running up these peasants to sacrifice themselves in an attempt to, just blow up the board. Which, if that's the case, I'll give it to him because we do have the Arbiter's Return for later. But he's not touched the Pegacoin at all in terms of damage, and that thing is getting eerily close to his base. We are getting in the late stages of the game, though, so I would expect him to start throwing out something like Joan Viev. Joan Viev's a decent card. I'm not going to be able to take away that blasted resolve, though, which is going to be a pain in my ass, but it is what it is. Okay, he'll do that. We could probably actually take it. Oh, you know what we could do? Here's something better. Oh, or what we can do, I think. Look at this, right? Oh wait, no, I forgot. Never mind. I forgot he can't be. She can't be affected by this kind of stuff. But we'll do this. We'll do a Lich play. Up here, takes out the peasant. We'll also get rid of the resolve, even though Joviev's going to hit us back. Although we could probably expect to see maybe a Dragon's Fire right about now. I wouldn't be surprised if he just throws one out at this late in the game. Or an Arbiter's Return. Or a Keeper of the Doorway. That's a thing that can happen, I guess. And then what else you got? Mischievous little Impy boy. Okay, Imp's going to take a retreat there. That's fine. I'm going to actually play a T-Rex here. And see what, push those guys back. I can't deal with them directly, but I can temporarily push them back so that way they can't really do any sort of major damage to me right now. I'm hoping to maybe draw a tower soon, so that way I can play around with these Winds of the Icy a bit there, freezing the enemy, bring them closer, and then just boom, chomping them with 6 damage from Lich or 9 from T-Rex. However I'm feeling. Okay, there's an Imp on our T-Rex, followed by a Wraith. Okay, not too bad. Does he have anything for our Lich, though? That's the question of the day. Doesn't look like he does. Alright, so here's what we can do in response to that. We can do a bit of this. Take out his, what's it called? I forgot what I just called it. And then I think just do a general freeze here. Take out this little Imp up here. And the turn. Yeah, and then we could kill off the Joan Viev with the Yenaroth right afterwards. And again, we still have these Arbiter's Returns. I want to save them until we get later in the game, though. I definitely want to synergize the Arbiters with Armory or Blacksmith, classic combinations there. That are just going to do work to the castle, so I'm not too concerned about, reaching face. It'll come to me. That's what I'm trying to say here. It'll come. Ooh. Oh, look at this. We could do a Yenaroth play. Huzzah! There we go. Okay. So we pretty much cleared the board here, I would say, right? I think so. We can put our Yenaroth to threaten Castle because he's not rocking the chain to take out both of our guys. So I think this match is actually pretty much set in the bag against Psychosis here. Yeah, Craxus isn't going to do a hell of a lot. He's going to try and maybe draw for a weak unit to block. Let's see if he does. Okay, not bad. Both are probably going to, yep, as I predicted, they're going to guard. Okay. Can I... Actually, yes, I can. I can get Yenaroth onto the castle here. So we're going to do this. And do that. One Arbiter comes out. Hits the Hassan. Yenaroth on face. Expecting a heal momentarily. He's going to take out our Lich. The Lich will freeze Yenaroth, but by that time, if he does not heal, Arbiter for the win, and that way we'll put away game. What the game? Just the game, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it's sort of, I think he's judging in his mind whether or not he goes for the Arbiter. Okay, he's going to draw. He's still in Arbiter range here. I think he probably wants to devote some resources to getting rid of that Yenaroth, though. Okay, so crack. So with the Lumberjack, we are kind of out of the woods there. Well, I guess not really. He can pull out his Hands of the Saint or any sort of basic other healings. Drain Life, okay, yeah, no, we're not. We're getting farther and farther from the heals. He thinks he's going to buff up his hand here, but unfortunately we're going to have to throw out the GG because we are going to, of course, Arbiter Return for the win. And that's sort of the basic of the freeze deck here. It's a fun little deck. I didn't get to showcase the Tower of Winter damage, but maybe in a future ranked with red we will do that. But overall, I think the deck does fairly well. It's a bit tricky to pilot, especially in this day and age with all of the the warlocks and the altars running around, because they can really throw off the game sometimes. I try to throw in Pegacorn to counterbalance the warlocks, but you never know what you could run into on the ladder. But yeah, I think that was a great game overall for the deck, and yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. With that being said, guys, if you guys did enjoy this hidden combos of Frozen Tundra, please make sure to show that you did by leaving it a like, share with your friends, and comment down below your thoughts on the deck, and if you guys are going to use the deck, or if you want to make any modifications to it. Again, tell me in the comment section below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Show your support to the channel. Help us grow all by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. And with that being said, guys, until next time, stay gaming.